Hi, and welcome back to Cat and Dogs on Wheels. If you're a subscriber or a regular viewer, you might notice that we have an extra dog here. We've got good old Echo. Come over here, little one. Come on. Good boy. We've got my tried and true RJ. And now we have Chance. I'm going to tell you the story how we got Chance. First of all, I'm sort of skipping ahead. I'm skipping the videos in Quartzsite. I will show them to you later. But I'm jumping ahead to this story because this story is major in my heart and everything else. So, we came back to Ehrenberg. Good friend, viewer, sub Pam. We met up in Ehrenberg and we have become fast friends. Now, Pam, come here. It's okay. You can lay down up here. Okay, you don't want to sit on RJ. RJ is so patient. Come on. Good boy. Good boy. Chance is, I'm guessing, 6 to 10 months old. Just a pup. But a good pup. I took a chance on him. He's taken a chance on us. I stopped by my friend's, Pam's, camp. She spends winters here in Ehrenberg. And I stopped by her camp on our way up to our old spot. Our old spot's about 2.5 miles further in. And when we got there was dogs. There's campers' dogs. Pam has a dog. But there were also 2 extra dogs there. Dogs that were dumped in the desert. Now, Chance got dumped about 2 weeks before we arrived. He was adopted by the other desert dog that the campers called Duke. Duke has been there for 2 years that Pam knows of. Could be longer. Now, Chance is very friendly with humans and lovey and just a sweetheart. Duke, on the other hand, is really afraid of humans. He's had some, I'm sure, bad treatment from campers, maybe his original owners. I don't know, but he's terrified of people and he won't let anyone touch him. Well, I sort of bonded with this little guy. Echo and RJ were in the bus because I was going to let them out. Echo with all those dogs would be crazy. So, but he was very friendly and I really ended up sort of falling in love with him. Both the desert dump dogs tweaked my heartstrings. I can't even imagine why people do that. It was obvious when I was getting ready to leave. Mary was with me in her bus. When we were getting ready to leave, it was obvious that Chance, I hadn't named him yet then, but Chance wanted to follow. So Pam held him until we got completely out of sight. But when she turned him loose, he immediately took off after us. And after I'd been driving for a minute or two, suddenly, here's Chance running beside me, leaping in the air as he ran so that he could look me in the eye. After a little while, he quit leaping and was just running. But he ran the whole 2.5 miles at 15 miles an hour. Now, he's playing my heartstrings at full volume. I had the inkling that I should take him, but it was like, no, that would be crazy. I can't do that. I can't have 3 dogs. Well, had him up here, and I was really leaning towards, do I want him? I mean, it's like, I want him, but is it really smart? Am I absolutely insane to think of taking on another dog? Plus, Duke was in my mind. Very sweet dog, but I felt bad leaving him alone because he had adopted this little pup and was showing him how to be a desert dog. So he had established that he had his own little pack. So started thinking, Mary and I mean, the dogs tweaked Mary's heart too. And so Mary started calling everywhere, rescues, pounds, the SPCA, seeing if there was somewhere where these pups could get adopted. Is there foster homes at the rescues, something where we could get these dogs out of the desert? Well, Chance is at my camp, and he chased me all the way here, and he's so loving. RJ accepted him right away. Echo took a little longer, but what a good girl. You know, we had the snappy correction things, but nothing long. Within, 2 days, I could trust Echo with him. She was playing with him. Echo and RJ were teaching him house manners, so things that you would think I would have to train him for, they were taking care of the job. For example, getting up on my power station here, getting on the love seat and getting on the power station. All RJ has to do for his discipline, he communicates with his eyes, and if the look doesn't give the reaction he needs, he gives him a quick little So at first I didn't think the dogs would accept him. They weren't letting him on the bed. And Duke begged and begged and wanted to get on the bed. Eventually, they did give him the okay, and he was on the bed. And when that happened, when they gave him permission and he got to get up on the bed with the dogs, that was the moment I knew. Chance is a part of our pack. We're keeping the little guy. Cat and Dogs now has 3 dogs riding on the bus. And it's been wonderful. He's a sweet pup. He's obedient. He's a puppy, but he's a good puppy and very trainable. Mary called all the places in Arizona that can take dogs. The Pound, the ASPC, the Pound, the SPCA, the rescue groups, and everyone was full. Like maxed out to capacity, weren't taking more dogs, and if any more dogs came in, somebody's going to have to get put down. So finding a place for Duke was basically null and void, but even Chance wouldn't have a good chance being turned in. Even though he's a sweetheart, there's just too many dogs. There's too many dogs there. The guy at the Pound up in Parker explained to us that the issue here is Ehrenberg is a dumping ground for California dogs. In California, it's against the law. It's an actual felony to dump your dog. And it comes with a fine and a possible jail sentence. So Californians come across the border in Blythe and dump their dogs here in Ehrenberg and in Quartzsite. So it's sort of become a dumping ground. Well, the Pound and they can't have a bunch of wild dogs running around in packs out here. So they collect them and take them to the Pound. Right now, that Pound up there is 100% full, 90% pit bulls. So it's a sad, sad situation. People are disgusting. So I wasn't going to be able to do a rescue. And then I thought, can I rescue him? But I can't have 4 dogs. I couldn't rescue Duke. So the best I could do is hope to gentle Duke to where he was friendly to humans and maybe possibly find a home myself with another nomad or something. But I had to come to the mindset that I cannot save the world, but I could save one pup, and that was going to be Chance. So, tweaked my heart. We're in love. RJ accepted him. Echo accepted him. Echo's even playing with him. So, we got a new dog. Life is good. Walking them all. Chance is doing really good on the leash. He basically is in the monkey see, monkey do stage. And he is copying RJ and Echo. One quick example. My dogs, I tell them wait, and they wait to go in or out of the bus door until I say their name and okay. Chance picked up on that right away. He already waits with the dogs and comes out when I tell him okay. So, very proud of the smart little pup. I didn't want to make him feel penned. I think the first night is because I really didn't know for sure if he was going to stay with us or if I was going to find him a home. But I left the door open so that he could go in and out to go potty. And twice that night he went out, went potty, and came back. The third time he went out, he didn't come back. And I was very sad, very devastated. It was like, oh, little Chance, you were supposed to stay with us. Well, the next day, Chance comes back. And he isn't come back alone. He comes back with Duke. He went and got his pack buddy and said, hey, come up here. And Duke did spend the day with us. And the dog that nobody could touch was starting to touch me. He sniffed my crotch, which I let him. He approaches from behind, sniffed my crotch. He also was sniffing the back of my legs. So I decided to feed him. Now, normally down in the camps, when they feed him, they can't be right by the food. You know, you have to put the food out, and then he goes when nobody's close to him. Well, I sat down with the food, and he eventually was eating the food with me right beside him. Next step, I started hand feeding him. And he was taking food out of my hand. Started out like this, brought it into my leg, but he still wouldn't let me initiate any touch. And then Duke left, Chance stayed, and I had to let Duke go. It's like, if he comes back, I'll work with him, but I can't force that issue. Well, we went down to Pam's camp, and I took Chance, and I had him outside on a leash, and we were celebrating Pam's birthday. And at one point, when we were eating pizza, I just had his leash laying on my lap, and Duke talked him into let's go, and Chance took off with Duke. We saw the direction they were running, and of course Chance didn't come when I called him. He's not trained to do that yet, and he was with his buddy, his pack. So I got in the bus. Mary and Pam both asked if I wanted them to go with me. I said, no, I'll just go find him and pick him up. So I'm going and picking him up, and come on a road where there's quite a few, like a little neighborhood of people that are living there for the winter. And I see Chance, he's in a yard, and there's a woman trying to catch him and gather him up. And he sees my bus, and he's starting to come running, and she stepped on his leash, but he got away and came all the way to me to the bus. And I'm getting ready to load him in the bus, and this woman comes up to me screaming and yelling and lots of foul language. Screaming at me that I stole her effing dog and blah, 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 blah. Well, the truth of the matter is, I checked. Pam knew. This dog has been there for 2 weeks. Different people are feeding him, but no one was claiming him. And there was one gentleman that lives there, lives in a tent, and rides a bike, and he said that he would keep him if nobody else did. He said he would watch over him, he would watch Duke or Chance if no one else would. if no one was going to take him away. So Chance was up for grabs. I don't know where this woman was coming from. This was not her dog. She was not taking care of him. I said, well, and she had a dog tied in front of her RV. Meanwhile, while she's screaming and yelling at me, her husband, boyfriend, whatever, came walking out, and he's standing with his fists like this and just rocking back and forth on his feet, like sideways, side to side, like this, glaring at me, not saying anything, but glaring at me. I have to say, I was very intimidated. I mean, they were both much bigger than me, and they were both very angry, and she was very foul-mouthed. I was very intimidated. And I said, well, if he's your dog, obviously you don't keep him confined. And she's like screaming and yelling with foul language, basically told me it's none of my business, and she would never dream of tying up a dog. As I'm standing there looking at her dog who's tied up. But I was just in such shock, and I didn't know what to do. So I took off my collar and leash and gave him back to her. And I went back to Mary and Pam, and I was actually devastated. It was like just when I decided, okay, I'm in love. He's our dog. We're a pack of 3, and now suddenly he's gone. I also felt really guilty. I felt like I should have stood up for him more. I should have tried to claim him more. Because obviously these people weren't nice people. And I had the feeling they weren't going to be nice to Chance when I left. I figured they probably will tie him up for a day or so. But Pam informed me, she goes, that won't last if they do, because he's going to whine and howl, and it's going to drive them nuts, and they're just going to turn him loose. They've never gone, she claimed that Chance, she let him roam. Every day he roamed. Every day he came home. And I did call her on that. I go, well, that's impossible, because he's been at my camp for 2 days. I know another gal that he spent the night at her camp, and he goes to another gal's camp all the time and stays there. So, no, he doesn't come home every day. And, of course, I'm just, then more foul language and screaming and yelling at me. So, I surrendered him to her and was devastated when I came back. But it is what it is. Well, Pam said, don't you worry. She said, when the second he's free, she goes, he'll be at my camp. If he's on his way to your camp, he'll stop by my camp first, because he always plays with her dog. Well, sure enough, Chance went to her camp. She loaded him in the van, and she brought him home. So Chance was home again. Whew. I know those people won't come looking for him. They never looked for him all the other times they roamed. And I'm sure they wouldn't suspect me, because I was so passive and intimidated that they don't think I would come back and fight for the dog. So I feel safe out here. There's no way they're going to drive out here. And even if they drove out here, it'd be really hard for them to find us. We are out and isolated and away from the road. So we're safe out here. Now, that was traumatic, but now I have my dog, and he is for sure our dog. Coincidentally, the day before I met Chance, I enrolled in an online training course, and it is a course where they train the humans. It's the Canine Training Institute. They train service animals, service dogs, and police dogs. Well, what they are doing is teaching the human how to do their style of training. So I do their style of training, and I get my dogs to the point and behavior of service dogs, where I can take them anywhere, and they ignore everyone else and other dogs. They're not reacting to everything. They're only watching me and reacting to me and what I want out of them. So I'm very excited about going through that course. And I will film my lessons with the dogs so that anybody of you who is interested in getting a dog that's like basically perfect, you can follow along and maybe it'll work for you too. I'm sleeping with 3 dogs, if you can believe it. But it's still the same MO that it was with Echo and RJ, because he's monkey see, monkey do. So when I get ready for bed and I get RJ and Echo back off, Chance backs off, I get my position, and then RJ comes up, gets his position, Echo comes up, gets her position, Chance comes up, gets his position, and I have a great night's sleep. They don't wake me up. So thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with me. Thank you, my subs, who are still my subs, even though it's been a month since I've done a video. We're going to get back into that weekly schedule. So stay with me. Fun dog stuff. And just keep in mind, we can't save the world, but there is a pup out there I bet you could save. Only one at a time sometimes is all we can do. I'm just saying, help out the shelters and the rescues and the SPCA. Help take some of the load off them. And your adoption fee will help support them to keep more dogs alive. So give those pups some extra love, some good training, and see you next time.
And given we make time, I'll meet you down the line. Down the line, we'll meet up down the